You better lace 'em up because it looks like World War III has arrived. Yes, that's right. War has broken out across the Middle East. And a lot of people are missing just how economically devastating this is gonna be globally. One of the world's most important trade routes, the Strait of Hormuz, is shut down. We could be looking at an oil spike to $150, inflation surging to 8%, and a Bitcoin flash crash to 20K all by next week. Believe it or not, the dominoes are falling and the most brutal market crash of our lifetimes could be upon us. Yeah, that's right. We're monitoring the situation, and the situation is much worse than 2008. You know, kind of Bitcoin versus World War III was inevitable, and now it's here. We got a lot to get to today, including a massive betrayal. That's right.
These globalists want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. We're rebuilding our military stronger than ever before, and we are not going to deplete it again on stupid, senseless, endless wars. World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III. And this horrible, horrible president is dragging us toward World War III. We're going to be in World War III soon. Because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Large sections of the Middle East. I mean, look at the death and destruction that's taken place. And none of this would have happened if I were president. Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. But the Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan and across the country want a stop to the endless wars and a return to peace in the Middle East. That's all they want. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me, but you will have World War III, I believe, without me, but we won't have. I will be sure that World War III will not happen. I'm the only one can say it won't happen. But I stand here today, and I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily.
I know, Mr. President, it's stupid and crazy. We've wasted trillions of dollars in the Middle East while we've ignored our own problems at home. This is a combo of the worst of the Bushes. No new wars, no new taxes. My God, time is it's like a circle. They are weeks away from a bomb for 30 plus years. They have weapons of mass destruction. How do they keep getting away with this? If it ain't broke. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Well, they're going to have a lot to fix after what they've unleashed. And to really grasp and understand the impact of the Strait of Hormuz, just it alone, and how devastating this is to markets, you're going to want to check this out.
If Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, what impact will it have on the entire world, and which country will be affected the most? First, let's understand what the Strait of Hormuz actually is. It is a small area of just 33 kilometers located between Iran, Oman, and the UAE. It is a narrow sea passage through which almost 20% of the world's oil supply flows, nearly 17 million barrels every day. This oil comes from 8 countries located in the Persian Gulf, including including Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE for the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar, 90% of their oil exports pass through this narrow route to reach the rest of the world. If Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, following countries will suffer the most damage. First is India, because it imports 85% of its oil, and 60% of that comes from Middle Eastern countries like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the UAE. Fuel prices in India would skyrocket, and as a result, everything related to oil and all industries would face severe disruption. Industries could shut down, there would be job losses, and the economy would be severely affected. The second most affected country would be China. China is the world's largest oil importer, bringing in 10 million barrels of oil every day. 40% of China's oil imports pass through this Strait of Hormuz. Although China has built oil pipelines with Russia and Central Asia, they don't even fulfill 20% of its energy needs. So, if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, China's economy could suffer a massive blow, and if China's economy is shaken, its effects will be felt all over the world. The third most affected country would be Japan, as it imports 90% of its oil, and 75% of that passes through the Strait of Hormuz. The fourth most affected country would be Saudi Arabia. 80 to 90% of Saudi Arabia's oil goes to the rest of the world through Strait of Hormuz, while only 10% goes to Europe via its Red Sea coastline. So if this choke point is blocked, Saudi Arabia's economy will be heavily impacted. Imagine that a country suddenly loses 80 to 90% of its revenue. What would happen to it? Something similar could happen to Saudi Arabia. There's also a high chance that Saudi Arabia might send in its military to reopen the route, and that could make the situation even worse. Fifth is Pakistan, which gets about 90% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz. This oil meets around 27% of the country's energy needs. So if the route is blocked, prices in Pakistan could rise sharply. But there's an interesting twist. Since Pakistan shares a border with Iran, and several government reports suggest that 35% of Pakistan's diesel comes unofficially from Iran. So if the strait is blocked, Pakistan might turn to Iran for oil, either quietly or through an official deal. Next in line is the UAE, because as nearly as 72% of its oil exports rely on this Strait of Hormuz. The country does have a backup option, the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline, which allows it to bypass the strait and export up to 60% of its oil. But for a major economy like the UAE, losing the remaining 40% would still be a serious blow. Next comes the European countries like France, Germany and Italy, which on average get 10% of their oil through the Strait of Hormuz. A blockade here would hit them hard as well. Globally, experts warn that oil prices could soar past $150 a barrel, causing widespread inflation and possibly triggering a major global recession. So this small 33-kilometer area holds enough power to shake the entire world.
Gas prices are already surging around the world. The Black Swan event is here, breaking. Saudi Aramco operations halted. The Strait of Hormuz closed. We're not talking about a little bad market day. We're talking about a global system stress test, and here's why. Saudi Aramco, largest oil company on earth, $2 trillion valuation disrupted. Strait of Hormuz, the artery of global energy trade, shut down. Oil futures already spiking past 130. Goldman projecting 130 plus if this sticks. Next targets 150, maybe 200. Here's the cascade nobody on CNBC wants to talk about. Oil spikes, transportation explodes. Transportation explodes, everything costs more. Inflation surges, the Fed can't cut. No cuts, bond yields spike, yields spike. Liquidity dries up. And liquidity dries up, markets crack. That's the textbook sequence. Last time oil ripped like this, 1973, the S&P dropped 48% over the next year. Now layer this on top of today's reality. Global debt, $315 trillion, 3 times higher than 2008. Markets leveraged to the teeth. Margin calls don't knock politely. They kick in the door. Airlines crushed. Shipping crushed. Manufacturing crushed. And yes, in the initial fear wave, even Bitcoin could get dragged down in a liquidity flush. We saw it in March 2020. Safe haven narrative doesn't matter when the margin clerk is calling. COVID dropped markets 34% in 23 days. This hits the energy backbone of the global economy. We're not talking about weeks, we're talking about days. Now there's a strategist out there, allegedly one of the highest IQ guys on the planet, who's been wargaming this exact scenario. And he sees 3 paths from here. 1, best case, diplomacy works, strait reopens within days, oil drops back. Markets recover, probability low. 2. Middle case. Strait stays disrupted for weeks. Oil at 100 to 120. Slow bleed across all markets. 10 to 15% correction. Recession odds jump 60% plus. 3. Worst case. Full shutdown. Oil at 130 plus. Global supply chains collapse. S&P drops 25 to 30%. Crypto crashes 40% plus. Full recession by Q3. We are currently between scenario 2 and scenario 3. Now here is the full chain of events we could be witnessing unfold. And yes, I know, it's really getting hard to figure out if you should be getting ready for World War III. Well, that's here. Another pandemic, the AI takeover, economic collapse, or all of the above. But it's all of the above. And the next 2 weeks could be absolutely demoralizing. Check this out. Steps 1 through 3 already happened yesterday and Saturday. Steps 4 through 7, they believe, will happen within 72 hours. And it'll be brutal with full market capitulation, flash crashing Bitcoin to 20K by the end of next week. As they mentioned earlier, inflation surging could kill hopes of interest rate cuts, unless the desire to print for war outweighs their fear or desire to tame inflation. Either way, liquidity event, default, or big print, they all end in a big print of sorts. It's just a matter of when and how violent they'll be forced to inject liquidity into this thing. What does this mean for you? Well, it kind of means short-term pain could bring lifetime opportunity. And it's no longer hyperbole. We're in World War III. So get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into self-custody before it's too late. We're about to bring it home today, but before we do, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Speaking of holding your own keys, if you're looking to reclaim your sovereignty, you're gonna want to visit our friends over at the Bitcoin Way. If you're not running a node, you're not verifying your own transactions. You're relying on someone else. The Bitcoin Way will get your coins off the exchanges into cold storage and guide you step by step in setting up your own node. It's hands-on training from the masters of self-custody. And ask yourself, are they listening to your calls? Tracking every tap? The Bitcoin Way will help you choose a privacy phone, install a privacy operating system, and regain your digital sovereignty. And if you need location insurance, a Plan B residency is within reach. They'll guide you step by step into a Bitcoin-friendly community where sovereign individuals thrive. Visit thebitcoinway.com and book your free 30-minute consultation using that link in the show notes. Today's show is brought to you by Ledn. If you ever need cash but don't want to sell your Bitcoin, Ledn makes that possible. They're the global leader in Bitcoin-backed lending with $10 billion plus in loans issued since 2018 and a perfect record of protecting client assets. Why is a Ledn loan different? With custodied loans, your collateral is not lent out to generate yield. There are no credit checks. You can get funds in as little as 6 hours, no monthly payments, and you can repay anytime with 0 penalties. Plus, they publish proof of reserves every 6 months verified by a top accounting firm. Ledn gives Bitcoin holders a secure, transparent way to unlock liquidity without selling. Learn more at learn.ledn.io/simply. That's learn.ledn.io/simply. We've spent $8 trillion in the Middle East. That's 100x annual federal spending on roads and bridges. I mean, kind of think about how great our country would be if we'd spent that money here. Imagine how affordable groceries and housing would be if we hadn't printed all those cuck bucks to fight foreign wars. War with Iran has already sent the oil markets into its biggest crisis in decades. You know, I guess at the end of the day, they crossed a line our satanic government couldn't tolerate. But remember, every Bitcoin drawdown has been the opportunity of a lifetime. Take advantage, take self-custody, and prepare. Because this could be their last attempt to shake you out before Bitcoin starts ripping faces off.
2026 is, in the U.S., the midterm elections. And President Trump does not want to be a lame duck. So I have a feeling that he is going to work with his crypto and AI czar, right, to do a few things. One, make sure we get that de minimis ruling through. Make sure. So because, you know, grassroots is where a lot of what we've been talking about is going to happen. But also, it seems as though there's been reticence about actually buying Bitcoin for the strategic reserve. So far, it's confiscated. The original intent was to own 1 million Bitcoin. So I actually think they will start buying, because I think this will help Trump in a couple of ways. The midterm elections, part of the reason he won the presidency, I think, was the crypto community. Yes. And another reason, of course, is his family is all in on Bitcoin and other crypto assets. And they have, we talked about the DATs earlier. They've kind of fallen apart this year. So I think he's got all kinds of reasons to do this. But the most important one is he does not want to be a lame duck. He wants to have another 1 or 2 productive years. And I think he sees crypto as a path to the future.
And the possibility of World War III is higher than ever, which is probably a good time to visit our new sponsor, Sat123. Because when cell service dies, life doesn't have to. Sat123 hooks you up with real satellite phones, Starlink kits, and rugged off-grid internet that works anywhere. Mountains, ocean, middle of nowhere, it doesn't matter. If you care about preparedness, freedom, and staying connected when it actually counts, go to sat123.com. That's sat123.com, and don't forget to use promo code SIMPLY for 15% off. No signal? No problem. Let us know what you guys think down below. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp by sharing the Sound Money Gospel. We got a crazy week ahead, so stay tuned, stay humble, stack sats, and I'll catch you all next time. Love you guys. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.